Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered and Functional. I'm your host, Mandy, here with Sashi Baby.
Hello, hello.
We have finally the long awaited, the most requested Peptides Part 3. Now, the reason I say this is the long awaited, most requested, most questions about it is because it's sort of one of those more trendy subcategories of peptides, fat burning peptides. I know everybody wants to hear about them. I get it. They're very buzzy, very trendy. I have to do my due diligence. Guys, this is not medical advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes. And if you want to know anything else about this, please consult a trusted healthcare professional. Quick recap. What are peptides? Short chain amino acids that we already produce in our bodies. They should be treated like any other medication that you would take. So do your research, ask your questions, source appropriately, and then understand that peptides do not replace the foundational work you need to do, and they should not be employed until you have that solid foundation of lifestyle.
Absolutely.
We got to do the mom talk right off the
Yeah.
bat. Do our due diligence, be responsible. Okay. That being said, I also kind of want to go over what is fat burning? What's this definition? Because is it really arguably, I don't think it's a thing. It's not a thing. You can either be in a deficit where you're losing fat tissue, but whenever I hear fat burning, I kind of think of like, those models they brought in school of like what 5 pounds of fat looks like, and it's like this just yellow blob.
Yeah.
I always think of that, and then like somebody just taking a lighter and burning it, like very literal fat burning, and I'm like, no,
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
that's not what it is. So different categories of sort of what I guess would be more appropriate would be to say fat loss peptides. Appetite ones that are going to influence your appetite so you're not eating as much. And if you're not eating as much, it makes it a little bit easier to be in a deficit to actually lose fat tissue. Another category is going to be metabolic. So this is going to have influence on your insulin sensitivity and your mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell.
Oh
So we're
yeah.
so we're burning more energy. And the third one is kind of visceral fat, body comp peptides.
That's
This is gonna
stubborn fat.
the stubborn fat and that like internal organ fat that kind of fucks with us in a really bad way. Us being some people, not everyone. The really important thing to understand though is like most peptides are not going to burn fat or support fat loss unless the lifestyle supports it. So before we dive into like very specific peptides that I know I want to talk about, I'm excited to talk about it. But Sash, I just want to ask you a question because you've been a coach for a while now. You're a woman. Women do some really weird shit to try
Yeah.
and lose weight sometimes. So not just being a coach, but just being a woman and having firsthand experience. What is the craziest fad or trend for like fat burning that you've heard of or seen or partook, engaged in?
Hmm. Oh my God. I mean, the first one that comes to mind, and this is something that I've done and I may do again when I do like cardio sessions, not necessarily anymore for the reasons why other people do it, but it's wearing neoprene waist trainers while doing high intense cardio paired with a hyper burn fat burning supplement. And the reason why I say like I may still do this and it's not something that I've completely taken off the table is because I'm not wearing the waist trainer because I'm trying to burn more fat or literally burn more fat or like suffocate myself. But if anything, when I wear them, it's more so like for the posture, just to like feel more pulled together to create like that like almost like mini sauna in my abdomen area. And like it helps me just break more of a sweat because it would take me longer to like get my heart rate up higher to like sweat more. And when I'm doing cardio, like if I'm doing cardio, I want to be sweating. And the same thing goes for like when it comes to like the hyperburn, like uh, it just has so many added things that I feel like are very unnecessary. I'm sure that there are better ones. You know, if you really want something to help burn it up, burn things up a little bit more talk to your coach. There are some supplements that you can take in order to do that. But again, like you cannot do that and then get off of cardio and think that you can eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want because you just burned X amount of calories. So I think that those are crazy fad trends when they are not used appropriately. And I like really preface by saying that because if someone listens to this and then they go on my Instagram when I'm in my next prep or in my next cut and they see me putting on my waist trainer, like that's how you know that I'm starting up like intense cardios when I start wearing those again. Because like I said, like I just like to feel myself sweating more and I like to take it off and like be dripping in sweat. But doing it otherwise, like, or just walking around in it all day to like burn more fat,
Don't do that. Oh my
don't
God.
do that.
Yeah. No, I
Don't do
see the validity in it too, especially the for helping, I think being aware of posture, like you said, but also breath. So like
Yeah,
not so much as like in a fat burning capacity, although it does have that like, you know.
snug tightness. Yeah, it just makes you feel more pulled together.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot of athletes say even like just for like the breath awareness too,
Yeah,
we're taking it on that level versus like the aesthetic level, that is really helpful. I've
yeah,
personally never used one yet. It's not off the table for me, but I just don't have the experience with it.
yeah.
I
And I
think
mean, if you're already using it, like you want to use one that's not like some slinky whatever material and then like walk around in it all day. Like think about it, like you're sweating in it. You know, and I've also seen like the seaweed wraps where like you can wrap your abdomen first with that and then you put the waist trainer on and like that's a little bit intense for me. Like for me, a neoprene waist trainer just to like really keep that like body heat locked in was
yeah, enough.
good. But
Yeah,
again, context matters here.
for sure. I think the most ridiculous fad trend that I've seen is oral L-carnitine. What a waste of money. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not sorry, but like, and listen, I used to take it, but it's just, you kind of mentioned like the flavors, the additives, that kind of stuff.
It's
That's
just a
not
yummy, tasty drink.
right. It's like it's an excuse to take a shot of sugar, basically, right before you do cardio or a workout. And oral L-carnitine is like so low bioavailability. It's take your money and
Yeah.
burn it.
Yeah.
Don't, you're not going to burn the fat. You're going to burn your money basically on that one, in my opinion. But
And like I think that there are some companies and some supplement brands that could really if they have like an L-carnitine, like pack it with other things in there that could
mhm,
actually like could help stimulate some stuff. I know Johan Bine, you know, like those are
mhm,
supplements that just help get your heart rate up higher. And as your heart rate goes up higher, like your body's burning more because like we're burning calories. But this is not something that like you just take and then go about your day. Like you take it and you get on the freaking elliptical and you push on that elliptical to be burning.
right. Foundation,
Exactly.
foundation, not a band-aid. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Thank you for
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to the fat loss things, but we won't take that train down that rabbit hole. We've talked about these peptides before, so I'm kind of just going to skim over this first little group here with the appetite suppressing ones, specifically the semaglutide, tirzepatide, and now more recent on the scene is the retatrutide. They're becoming more popular, more trendy because you can get really big results for them, but there's also a lot of controversy because, again, you need to have that foundation in place. If you're not regularly weight training, you do run a very real risk of losing muscle tissue, which affects your bone tissue later in life as well. So these are not things that you should just willy nilly play around with. Truly do your research, truly understand what potential side effects that you could have are, and are you truly a good candidate for these peptides? Again, I cannot stress it enough. You have to treat them like they're medications because they very much can impact your body like a medication can.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of their mechanisms of action is they work directly on your digestive system, suppress that appetite. The bigger one is that they work on your insulin sensitivity, but a lot of people are like, ooh, it's going to suppress my appetite and I'm going to get skinny. It's like, no, there's more to it than that.
Yeah. A lot more to it.
Those I think have been some of the more popular, trendy ones. Again, we have a whole separate episode on those weight loss shots. So go back if you haven't listened to it yet, and you can hear way more details about it now because I do want to shed light on some of the other peptides. Before we move on to the next one, I want to have a quick convo with you because one of the things that we talked about in our weight loss shot episode was sort of like that mental and emotional repercussion of taking those weight loss shots and not being fully prepared about it. And have you either worked with anyone or do you think, I guess where I'm getting at is, do you think that it should be, this might be a strong word, but mandatory that people that are going to use those shots specifically for weight loss, not type 2 diabetics, but specifically for weight loss, do you think that they should also do therapy?
In some aspects, yeah. And the reason why I say that is because if you are to using that kind of shot and you have, besides like the doctor who's prescribing it to you, you're also working with a coach like yourself, like myself, like another functional fitness health coach who is really invested and involved in your health and in your mental well-being. You might not necessarily need to also additionally go to a therapist because, and I'm not saying all coaches, but I feel like nowadays there is more coaches who are prioritizing the mindset approach as well, like the mental load and just like your mindset. I know that Mandy and I, like, we do that. We are, we always work with our girls besides just giving them like a workout program and nutrition, like that is like the most bare minimum that a coach should be giving you. The next level of what we give is that mental shifts approach, like talking to them. So if you have a coach that's doing that, you might not necessarily need to go to like a therapist and do that unless your coach is like, hey, like there's a lot more layers here and I could only help you with so much, and like lovingly redirects you that way. But if you are someone that only goes to the doctor, gets that shot, comes home, does your own thing, you don't have a coach, you don't have support, you don't have someone from the outside looking in and helping guide you through these changes, through the way your body's changing, the way that you look at things differently, the way that you feel differently, the way that you are, I would definitely say like working with a therapist, working with someone from that kind of field, because otherwise I fear that there is this loop of, if someone is taking it for fat loss and they have deeper layers to, not loving their body and how they feel about themselves and their confidence. No matter how much weight they're going to lose, they're never going to be skinny enough. No
Mm.
matter how much weight they lose, they're going to be happy with their bodies. And that's kind of where it's really important to have someone on the outside be like, hey, you did this for the last 8 weeks. We gotta chill out now and like focus on, like you said, the foundational things. Because doing the shot itself, but like not making any lifestyle changes, yeah, you might lose some weight, but like it's gonna come right back as soon as you're off the shot and like relying on that forever. So, yeah, I feel like it is very beneficial to have someone, whether it is in the coaching kind of container or in a coach that offers like mindset approaches, or in a therapeutic, working with a therapist, working through any traumas almost that you have with the way that your body is.
Yeah, no, definitely about traumas because regardless if there's like a history, I think that a lot of women, if they've been heavier or if they were skinny, then gained a bunch of weight, then lost a bunch of weight, like there's a lot of body dysmorphia that goes into it, even which we very well know about as bodybuilders. And arguably, we have healthy physiques, but even losing the weight to get stage lean and then gaining it back to reverse and like gain muscle, there's body dysmorphia, period.
There is.
So, and as athletes, I think we, to a degree, most people understand that is part of the territory. Like we sign up for it. But for somebody that wants to just lose the weight, I truly do think that if you are going through a doctor's office, part of that like evaluation before that medication even gets prescribed should be assessing like how are you mentally and like can we give you resources to support that because your mental is going to change as your body changes. And I don't think
It
people
will.
talk about that enough.
No, they don't. It will. And it changes. And I'm sure that, we can go on a whole rant over here of how as your body changes and you're losing the weight and things are happening, the way that your gut function changes, the way that your hormones function change. All of that, it like when we say your mind changes, it's not just like seeing yourself in the mirror and seeing something different. Like it literally like there's chemical differences happening because of what's happening in your gut, because of what's happening to your body. And, as bodybuilders, as competitors, we can both very much relate that when we lose a ton of weight, we go into like a brain fog, like stupid mode, like brain fog mode. And when we're in that brain fog mode, unless you're in a really good place mentally and like really present and really checked in, it's really easy to be like, this is not enough. I'm not lean enough. I'm not this. Talk down on yourself. Literally, when I say fog, think of like a gray cloud over your head. And unless you're able to like push through that and like move it to the side and be like, this is just like my brain is just not in a good place. And that's why a lot of competitors talk about, not feeling good mentally when they're in a prep because of the things. And some of them might be taking some of these shots to like help with their appetite, with their metabolism, with all of these things. Some might not, but like that just really goes to emphasize for someone who's just trying to lose weight, not necessarily trying to be a bodybuilder, like how much it really does affect what's
Mhm.
going on up here. So take care of yourself up there because
Yeah,
otherwise none of it matters.
truly. Yeah, it's not worth destroying your mental health over. Ugh. All right, ready to dive into the other ones. These are a few people may or may not have heard of. I think the biggest ones are those appetite suppressing ones just because they're so mainstream now. But the next one I want to talk about is MOTS C. This is one that is probably a little bit more popular among biohackers, the biohacker crowd.
Mhm.
And this one is a mitochondrial derived peptide. And it is very much
Powerhouse.
so powerhouse of the cell. I almost forgot. Is very much so known for its metabolic optimization and insulin sensitivity. Now, it's less researched and less studied than our semaglutide and tirzepatide, but it still does have that insulin sensitivity function, very similar to those peptides as well. It is kind of nicknamed in a sort of an exercise mimetic. So what it does is it sort of like fires up those mitochondria like they would be fired up if you were doing an exercise.
Mm.
Now, saying that again, foundations still have to be in place. You can't just take this and be like, well, my body on a cellular level thinks it's exercising, so I'm fine. No, it won't work that way. MOTS-C is great for that internal work, but you're not going to take it and then automatically see a result like as fast as you would on some of these GLP, GIP combination ones. It's not going to happen. This is one that you need to take for a while, do the foundational work, and then we see the results on it. Still emerging research, but this is a really good one, I think, for internal health, internal like insulin resistance. If you're not really feeling a GLP-1 or you want to try something different. The next one I think is probably a little bit more popular with bodybuilders. AOD 9604. This
Once the
one,
numbers start getting involved, I'm like, what are we talking? No, I'm joking, but like I think it's so funny. It
I,
reminds me of those like comic books or like Star Wars or something where it's like BP 157. I'm like BPC 157. I'm like, okay.
I know TB 500, SLU. Well, that one's not a peptide, but yeah, it's the numbers get me too. I'm like, all right, Beverly Hills 90210. Great.
That's funny.
Yes. Okay. But AOD, instead of, I'm not even going to say the numbers. This one's a little bit more of a quick hitter. And what I mean by that is people will tend to see physical results with this one a little bit faster than they would with something like, say, MOTS-C. The caveat here is when you stop taking the AOD, the results go. Whereas like MOTS-C, it does improve your internal health. And like once you stop taking that, you can still have those improvements as long as your lifestyle is healthy. AOD is one where like you stop it and like things kind of, that's it. You stopped it. That's not to say take it forever. Guys, remember context, time, place, exposure, etc. But basically, AOD is derived from human growth hormone fragments. So it is one that is specifically marketed for fat loss, which is why a lot of bodybuilders, it has that appeal for ones in prep. And it's less about appetite and more about fat metabolism signaling. So, again, bodybuilders in prep wanting to push in the last home stretch to lose the last amount of body fat. That's where this one is kind of coming in. And the last one I want to go over is a really great peptide, tesamorelin.
I
But
always thought that it's tesamorelin. Am I mispronouncing it?
no, I think we're just from different parts of the country.
Okay, that's fair.
Because like
Tesamorelin.
tomato, tomato, or I was like, what did I was like the Sopranos, and you were like,
It's
it's the
Sopranos.
C.
It's Sopranos. Okay,
Oh
fair.
wait, what do you call this?
Tesamorelin.
Okay. And I just said tesamorelin. Okay.
Tesamorelin.
You,
Anyways,
six and one half dozen of the other guys. Tesamorelin.
that works. No mispronunciation there.
Love it.
Anyways.
But this one is our visceral fat peptide. This one is actually specifically approved by the FDA for HIV associated lipodystrophy. So it does have an FDA approval. Not that that really means much anymore these days, but it is also very popular off label use for visceral fat reduction, which we tend to see more in a female population. When this is targeted, this helps a lot of women drop inflammation, helps with the insulin resistance, helps balance hormones. However, not always the most affordable. This is one that's going to be, I mean, all peptides are going to be pricey. This is one, like, if I had to, off the top of my head, quote, it'd probably be about $500 a month.
Yeah.
So
Also depending on the dosage and depending on how frequently you're taking it and everything. So context matters,
mm,
but it is, yeah.
it does. But for most people, depending on your cycle length, if it's an 8 week cycle and then you take a break and then you hop on again, not many people are going to be like, yeah, let me just out of pocket spend 1 grand on this.
Yeah.
And again, over time is when we see more results for anything usually. But again, this is not something we take forever. So just kind of have to weigh out the pros and cons with your wallet, with your values, with your health, with your foundations, and then apply it.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. But it is a very effective one. It's just
A
a
little
little
bit pricier.
pricey, a little bit on the pricey end. I am not going to kill a head dead. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We've already talked about the foundations, guys. You have to have enough protein. You have to be strength training, have enough hydration, sleep, nervous system good for results to manifest on any of these peptides and for these results to actually stay. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You guys know how we feel about that. But I do want to do a quick little fun segment. So, Sash, rapid fire. I'm just going to ask you questions and you tell me true or false.
Yes, easy. Let's do it.
Okay. Fat burning peptides means I don't need a diet.
False.
Of course.
Duh.
um, if I take peptides, I'll lose my belly fat first.
False. You can't spot target fat.
Yeah.
If you hold it there more, then maybe, but like I have clients who not necessarily took peptides, but when even losing weight, they're like, "Oh, I really want to lose weight in my arms." I'm like, you can't spot target that. Like if that's where you hold more fat and that's what burns first, sure, maybe that'll happen, but like you can't do specific cardio for your arms to like lose more arm fat. Like it doesn't work like that.
Word, mama. No, you called it. Genetics and hormones get to decide that. Peptides are
E-
not going to do it.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Peptides are safer because they're natural.
False, because anything that's natural and anything could get abused and overused and used the wrong way. You could say the same thing about creatine is safe because it's just creatine, but creatine's also not FDA approved, which, like we said, that doesn't matter. But if you're taking 20 grams of creatine as a woman a day and you're not drinking enough water, It's not going to be great for your body. Or just taking creatine period and not drinking enough water. So like anything that's good and natural has its limit and needs to be like balanced out.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Last one. GLP-1s destroy metabolism.
No, not unless you destroy it. No,
Um,
they don't go in there with like a little army and start firing at your metabolism and like killing it. It's again, it's the misuse. It's not pairing it with the foundation. It's not pairing it with the lifestyle and like not having a clear structured plan of how you're planning on using it, how you plan to start it, use it, and wean off of it. Because like none of these are like start at the full dose, end at the full dose.
mhm.
Am I correct here?
Yeah.
We
For
like work
for
our
those
way
GLP.
up.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, for the GLPs at
Mhm.
least.
No, that is beautiful. I mean, GLPs can actually save people's metabolism, but like you said, if it's used correctly. That's fun. Thank you.
That was good. We should do that more often.
Yeah, I like that. Before we close out, kind of like the last little note I want to leave people with is, are there any people that shouldn't use these fat loss peptides?
Should not?
Should not.
Yeah, like
And
majority of the population.
well, specifically in that population, people, if you have, we sort of touched on it a little bit, but if you have history of an eating disorder and it is not addressed and you are not working with the team to address that, you should not be using fat loss peptides. Mentally, that fallout is not worth it. Please get support. If you are someone who has chronically been under eating in order to diet and you're very stressed out and burnt out, you should not use these.
Yeah.
It's going to, honestly, in some cases, it's going to stress your body out more and it's not going to have the results you think it's going to have.
No.
If you're chasing a quick fix, get your life together. Get some sleep, eat some protein. This
Drink
is
some
not,
water.
you're like, are we really going to pay $500 a month and not sleep? Like, no.
The things that people will do for a quick fix, though, like think about it. You could pay $500 a month for a peptide that may or may not help you because your foundations aren't there, or you could pay less than that for a coach who will give you the guidance, the structure, the tools. And yeah, you might have to pay for like your groceries and have a gym membership. So that will equate to just about the same as a peptide, if not even less. And you will actually start seeing results in real time, not using one of these tools. And I have nothing against them, but again, like you said, don't want to beat a dead horse, but unless you have the foundation down, unless you have the support, unless you have the understanding, and like I can promise you that anyone who's starting up a peptide is not going on a deep dive to understand what it does to their gut lining and freaking mental well-being. They'll like search it up on Google and, oh, okay, cool. Like, sure, my doctor said it's okay.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. And honestly, if you do want to use a peptide, good, great for you. But if you have those foundations in place, you're going to have probably a really positive experience. You're going
yeah,
to probably love using that peptide. Your body's going to respond because you've taken the time to do the foundations, to regulate your body, to have it be optimized.
for
If
sure.
you're not there yet, do the hard work first. Like anything worth having is going to be hard. Just do the work first. Then you can enjoy the little fun peptides if you choose to take them. Period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Period.
And the last one, people who should not use these fat loss peptides are people that are going to be getting them from sketchy sources. We've talked about Bobby in the basement making his peptides. Don't do it. Don't buy from
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Whoever.
just because it's $50 cheaper, whatever. Like,
No,
if you're
you're
injecting this into your body,
snake oil. No. Don't.
can you
Don't buy from
imagine?
Bobby. Should be like our slogan. Don't buy
Yeah,
from
don't buy from Bobby. And
Bobby.
if your name is Bobby and you're listening, we are not trying to slam down your business, but if you're making peptides in your basement, listen, dude,
Do
don't do it.
better.
Yeah,
Do
do
better,
better.
Bobby.
Make meal plans in your basement.
You'll get there one day, kid. So that's all I have for you guys on this episode. Peptides part 3. We'll also touch base on a couple other peptides in the future. But on a closing note, just kind of branching off of Basement Bobby, if you guys are ready, you have the foundations in place, you're curious about peptides, you don't know where to source from, full disclosure, affiliated with them, but Rise Wellness, you can go ahead and check them out. They will require a health history, lab work, doing everything by the books to make sure you're really in a place that this can be used appropriately. You can use my last name, Arias, Arias, to save a little bit of money on that. But if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We're so happy to talk with you guys. Our Instagrams will be in the show notes. Check out Sasha's podcast every Sunday, Sculpt Sessions. And we
Yes.
will see you guys next Monday.
Yes, we will. Bye.